Welcome to the first ever market report. This is February 5th, 2025. So every morning after I work out, I basically come downstairs, I turn on what the market is doing, and I always kind of have my own kind of perspective on kind of what's going on in tech. Again, from my small time CEO viewpoint. And so I'm going to basically live, unedited, post this straight up as Squawk Box talks about different stocks. If I have an opinion, I will share it and I'll try to get it live to you as quickly as possible. All right. So, what are we talking about today? ARM Holdings, have no clue. Nvidia, right? So, Nvidia, there was a very interesting interview that I watched actually yesterday with Bill Gates. And essentially, what he was saying was Nvidia doesn't actually make its own chips, they design. I guess how the chips flow, and that a lot of the chip manufacturing is actually in an alternative of Taiwan semiconductors. I will try to find that link, or you should go find that link, or maybe I'll put the link in the description below of that Bill Gates interview because I found it very interesting because he basically says, I wouldn't want to be Jensen in this market because everyone is actually racing to design a better chip. And I was like, oh my God, that was an interesting insight from, again, someone who's been in tech almost longer probably than Jensen himself. And so, again, interesting. I have a holding in NVIDIA. And I don't know if I'm allowed to share that. It's my first time doing this, but nonetheless, we do have a small holding in NVIDIA. I still believe it just from back in the day, graphics cards. I remember my business partner used to do LAN parties, and like those graphic cards and whatnot was like, oh, NVIDIA was sponsoring this thing, and it was like a big deal. So there's a little nostalgia in it. And again, I still do believe in founder-led companies, so I'm still with Jensen for the long haul. But it was a very interesting perspective from Bill Gates. All right. Apple. Someone basically Apple and Meta. So Apple, very interesting. Supposedly $1 trillion. Like I just don't think those companies can ever go bankrupt. I mean, their cash on cash alone is like 50,000 times our company, 100,000 times our company. So it's like, how do those companies ever go down? Meta, totally believe in Zuckerberg. I know he's going through this little life transition right now or whatever he's going through. But regardless, it's like the company is still strong. I mean, again, social media platforms, you talk about Instagram, you talk about obviously Facebook, you talk about WhatsApp. I mean, they know, right? And again, I think they will introduce live shopping soon. I don't know what's happening with the metaverse. I still believe in it in the same vein as Ready Player One style narrative of the whole world at some point. And I still think Meta is a great buy. Gold at a record price. Never really been into gold myself, but I can see how people are. Don't know what PDD Holdings is. So, again, some of the other stocks that were talked about today on Squawk Box was obviously Compass, real estate. Again, I feel like they missed the mark in terms of building a brand. They're basically a glorified, publicly traded brokerage. If I had any real estate holdings, which I do, I'm long on Zillow and Redfin. Chipotle, again, I have a very interesting viewpoint on fast casual or QSRs, quick serve restaurants. I guess the stock is down 4%. I think stores in a future economy are a very weird play in terms of people driving to the store. I think there'll be branded autonomous vehicles for a Chipotle, even for a Subway, for these big brands that are actually delivering to your door fresh, but from their own delivery network. Again, I think that's probably 5, 10 years out. I'm still not an investor in Chipotle, even though I know it's gone up and rode pretty high in the last few, call it 5 years ish. Q, QQQ, if you're a new investor, again, I think it's just kind of a more or less safe bet. Uh, you know, I think Chipotle probably, if they want to expand further, probably should reopen the franchise model that they had started, and then I think they pulled some of them back into the owned and operated network. By the way, you should fact check everything I'm saying. This is just one person's opinion. I will just say that. Tariffs, I still don't understand exactly how the tariff thing actually works, except for some of my buddies who do import, manufacture abroad and import. They're all running around pretty scared right now, being like, oh my God, our costs are just about to go up another 25%. And again, from that perspective, it doesn't seem like it's going to be helpful. Yet again, I don't understand the full economics of what a tariff does to us here in, call it, Main Street America. Again, there is no Toys R Us, so Mattel, I guess, I don't know if these buy them through Amazon or whatnot. Yeah, again, this idea of you can't commoditize Barbie, I'm very much taking the viewpoint of, these future models of AI. Again, there was one yesterday that I was looking at. You can create the animated character based on yourself. Now, again, if you're a great marketer, there's never been a better time to take your creativity and try to build that into a real character. So again, I think Mattel, yes, the IP of Barbie is a really great play, from the past and maybe moving forward. But I think essentially they become more or less a holding company for multiple brands. S&P. All right. So again, like what I want to do in this market report, this was a short. I wanted to do this all before the opening bell because obviously I have work to do today. And so again, I don't know how helpful even this commentary would be to you. So again, if you're watching this, again, this is going live and unedited. From right now to you, whether this is something that's informative. I'm going to post it, test it. This will be live on YouTube shortly. Again, obviously, I am tech heavy in NASDAQ. Obviously, a lot of tech stocks live there. You know, again, if I learned anything from college to now, it's very much been that, if I would have just bought and held for the last 20 years, I obviously would have been super up. But again, like it's delicate in the sense that, when it goes up, you're like, shit, I don't want to be greedy. Again, in some respects, I would be like, it's a set it and forget it. Again, you're buying. To me, I have very simple investment philosophies, right? One of them is I like founder-led companies, right? Or two, I have to understand that the consumer is using that thing enough, right? Like one of the stocks that was flashed up here earlier today was Snapchat. Snapchat is still ran by the founder. And again, like if you look at it, there's a whole demographic that still uses Snapchat while we don't use Snapchat or I don't use Snapchat. I still think I have an account somewhere. I just don't have the app on my phone. That it's still a play, right? And so, again, I still buy it from time to time because the swings are pretty wild, right? It'll go from 8, 9, 10 to like 18, 19, 20, and then it goes back down. And so, again, I know there's no timing of the market, but again, I still do believe in Snap. So, again, the opening bell, I believe, is in 10 minutes. When does the market open right now? Can you just double check? I have my assistant here in the background watching this to make sure I don't say anything too controversial. Uh, Let me go ahead and actually turn this down a little bit. 9:30 Eastern, which had already happened. That's why I was putting this. Okay, cool. So the market is open. I'm going to try to time this a lot better. This was just, I had an idea. I was sitting around watching. I was like, you know what? They had Uber on. Again, I personally think Uber's lunch is getting eaten alive. They need a partner in order to expand. Uber Eats. I like that. Honestly, you should hop on here with me. All right, so market's open. I'm gonna see if this hits. You tell me if it hits, and then I will record these maybe like the 30 minutes before a market opens, in as many days as I can. I think this could be like a little fun commentary, just to hear it. And again, I think maybe next time even. Actually, we should mute this. Can you turn this down? Cool. So that was the market report for February 5th, 2025. See you on the next one.